오셨어요? 마침 잘 오셨어요. 제가 오전 연구회에서 뭘 알게 되었냐면요.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Ekamek, this is Limbus Company. In our previous encounter, Mirror Dungeons. In this episode, more Mirror Dungeons. We have actually started to stockpile a bit of starlight over here. Maybe I should have used it on something. But we tackled Rupture Teams. It looks like they're giving out the really nice gift again. Ooh, headless portrait, you say. Let's refresh once and see what we get. Not quite what I was hoping for, but still pretty nice. So headless portrait we definitely want to pick up. We have a choice of Thorny Path, which is nice because when hitting an enemy and dealing damage to them with a skill that does inflict sinking potency, inflict 3 sinking potency and 2 sinking count at turn end. If you activate Lust Absolute Resonance, inflict 2 sinking potency and 3 sinking count to all enemies. If abnormalities are random apart at combat start. That's pretty nice. The alternative we have is the Broken Compass. Randomly inflict 5 plus a number of enemies times 3, sinking count between all enemies. For abnormalities, only the core counts. It's a tier 3 gift, we might as well go in with that. So yeah, combat start, inflict 2 sinking potency on all enemies with less than 0 SP. If it's an abnormality, then just 1 random part. For each envy skill we use, I thought I had my Discord turned off. Okay, as I was saying, for each envy skill we use, inflict sinking. Now there's something kind of wonky about this build because the guide was made before they released Dicey Hong Lu. I'll talk about what that strategy originally was when we get in. And yep, we want to go straight ahead. So originally, to get the full sinking team effect, people would use base Hong Lu here because he's actually pretty decent and he does rely on sinking. But they also the idea was that you hang on to Enmer Assault long enough to pick up a few Wrath resources, and then you trade him out for Sink Don Quixote over here. Except now we have Dicey Hong Lu, who has his own Wrath skills, and they're actually pretty good. I'm still going to give Enmer Assault some time, but just know that we probably don't need to use him anymore. The downside is that it means that we lose 2 sources of Lust skills, which is unfortunate for reasons we'll get into later. So we have 3 keystone parts to this team. Everything else is just to pad out the numbers so we have enough people to trigger the sinking gift. Our first keystone is Rodion. And by our first keystone being Rodion, I mean she has absolutely nothing except the fact that, well, she has one of the best sinking ego in the game. You might remember it from the Luxcavation solo build for the Blazing Bull. Rime Shank. If target is above 50% HP, deal 30% more damage. Triggers a Tremor Burst, inflicts sinking and sinking count. That seems alright. But if you overclock it, then you use the corroded version safely. Trigger Tremor Burst, inflict 10 sinking and 8 sinking count. This makes up for her identity not being very good at maintaining it on her own. The downside is that you have to actually afford the application of that, but oh well. But yeah, Dicey Rodion is actually very good at fueling her own ego. It's quite nice. Oh, it's the Spiral of Contempt. We all remember him from Refraction Railway. Blood pours from above. The land of gold lies beyond. The spiral head loudly screeches. It must have reached this depth after burrowing and burrowing. Although it has no eyes, it creaks to face you. Avert your eyes. Wrath? Gloom. Honglu can do this, right? I trust his rolls a lot more than I'd trust Rodion's, I can say that much. The whirling spiral slows down, showing forgiveness. Reverence for a being of no significance is followed by a slight self-contempt. The spiral descended out of sight in the meantime. We earned perversion. After defeating one or more enemies using attack skill, gain one ego resource of the attack skill's affinity next turn start. If the attack skill is Wrath, instead gain one ego resource of all affinities the ally has at next turn start. So our step 2 character is the one that started a bit of a controversy during the SEA event. Mola Ishmael. So first of all, her passive, Crushing Crabs. On hit against a target with Tremor, inflict +1 singing count. So basically, if the target is already suffering Tremor, then she cannot deplete the count. She could definitely deplete the potency, but not the count. Her skills are pretty decent. She gains Tremor count for using her skill 1 and inflicts 2 singing count at the end, so it balances out with the skills she uses. Explosive Blast isn't quite as well balanced. Inflict 3 Tremor count is good though because it lets her start using her passive. And it ends with 6 sinking, which is not insignificant. Finally, Risky Judgment. This is her nuke that uses up all her Tremor count. Inflict 5 singing count and then inflict 3 sinking on the remaining 2 hits. Deal bonus damage if the target has that 6 sinking. So yeah, we've got 2 characters that are pretty good at starting and maintaining the sinking count on the enemy. Which means that we have one more keystone to go over. Okay, I think after we visit the vendor here, Dispenser's hum fills the air. It knows what we want. We know what it wants. I want gifts that inflict tremor rather than gifts that exploit it. Wound cleared. I don't... I think this needs to be a refresh because aside from lithograph, which I'm picking up because there's not an awful lot there that I actually fit. Oh, but this is good. Blue Zippo lighter. This team is very gloom hungry, so having something like this is going to feed it excellently. We don't have much in the way of poise. Rusted Muzzle would just be a basic 2 potency on all our attacks. Talisman Bundle is always good. I appreciate being able to upgrade Utis a little bit. But wait. Nixie Divergence. We want this for Ishmael. Okay, as I was saying, Utis. Any upgrade to her kit is very important because she's a single coiner. Anyway, we have our Wrath, pull back more salt, bring in Sync Quixote. Oh, it's another pushover fight. Our final keystone is Spice Push Yi Sang. He's kind of weird because all of his sinking effects take effect next turn. Inflict 1, 2 sinking count next turn. Inflict 2 sinking next turn. It means that it does have an interesting application with anyone who inflicts it on this turn, but it means that he can't maintain sinking on his own. That's not why we use him. Blood Steeped Scent. If he loses this clash, he loses 20 SP, but it is a very strong attack. On hit, inflict 1 singing count and 1 singing count. So as long as he's above 1 on the target, then he's not going to have to worry about losing the effect. If the target has 6 sinking, cause Singing Deluge. Deal SP damage by singing count times singing potency, then remove all of it. If the target's SP is 45, is lower than -45, excess SP damage is dealt as Gloom Affinity HP damage. If the unit has no sanity, then it's just Gloom damage outright. This allows him to burst large amounts of singing on the target. It is very good for a sinking team. Incidentally, I want to, yeah. The thing about Daisy Hong Lu is that his skill 1 is very strong. Discard 1 skill of highest rank across this unit's skill slots. Gain Clash Power by the Insight. On hit, reuse this coin Insight number of times. The thing is, this isn't like a Rusty Commemorative Coin where he resets the attack. You see in the background there? He got up to 20 power on the final hit. It's additive, it's very good. Although the downside is that he doesn't understand how good that skill is, so you have to do a bit of maintenance to make sure that he doesn't keep throwing it away. Ooh boy, yeah, this is where singing teams that show the difference between Rupture teams. It looks like it's just going to be Gloom-flavored Rupture, but it isn't because in unfocused encounters like this, yeah, in unfocused encounters the enemies start flipping only tails because they're getting a lot of SP damage dealt to them. That said, the fact that it's Gloom elemented means that it does have its advantages and disadvantages versus Rupture. Rupture is always going to deal perfect numbered damage. Let's see. Let's go with Phlebotomy Pack so we don't take the extra slash damage. So where was I going with this thought? Yeah, Rupture is true damage versus Sinking being Gloom type damage. But the thing is that it means that if the enemies resist Gloom, they take less. But if they resist Gloom, they take less damage. But if they're weak to Gloom, they take more damage. And there's a very specific super rare Sinking gift where it forces it to always where it forces the get. There is a rare singing gift, which means that it will change the element damage to whatever the enemy is weakest to. It's very strong. The thing about Dicey Association is that it isn't just do whatever that looks fancy. You can't. Win rate isn't going to take into account the mechanics of insight, so you might have to start interacting here and there. Something we want to keep an eye out for as we travel, we want to keep an eye out for poise gifts, which is unfortunate because I skipped over a few of them. If you get enough poise gifts, then Utus over here does actually get pretty decent for a singing team. But if you don't, then it's actually considered better for boss fights to pull her back and to use Dicey Rodion instead with a second skill slot. So, the other members of our group. Dicey Honglu is obviously very good for singing teams because he sticks down a lot of sinking. Utus isn't the best. She's based on a Season 1 encounter. If target has 5+ sinking, coin power +2, but she only has 1 coin. Apply 2 protection to the ally with the lowest speed. Onslaught command, apply 1 attack power up to the ally with the lowest speed. If it hits, apply 2 damage up as well. So she's buffing whoever's moving first. Skill 3, inflict 5 sinking, inflict 2 attack power down this turn, that's important. And on a head's hit, inflict 4 sinking. So this justifies her being in a sinking team. And finally, passives. Next turn, apply 2 haste to self and allies who are adjacent to this unit on the dashboard. So she can help speed everyone up. Which is nice when you have Sync Exote in the background there. But if she's on support, then she just gives it 1 attack power up, defense up, or protection to the ally with the most HP. Even so, she's better than other options we have for sinking, right? Now, Sync Quixote over here, she doesn't have any singing on her skills. She just enjoys being in the same party as Utus over here because of the haste buffs. But she does have decent gloom skills. Also, Fluid Sac. Remember, this gives her the ability to deal gloom damage by absolute resonance, and we do get a lot of gloom in this party. But also this does count as a singing attack on its corrosion, and we do want to use the corrosion in boss fights. If I were able to get her to tier 4, and I can't because of the upcoming event, Uptie 4 would give her singing on the Awakening version as well. The irony is that the Dicey Association actually prefers to throw... Oh, I was talking about poise gifts. This is a very good poise gift. First turn start, all allies gain poise and count. When activating Pride, all allies gain 2 poise and 2 poise count. And we got that just in time to arrive here. So then, we don't want to upgrade the Headless Portrait because we might be able to fuse it later. I'm somewhat doubtful, but it is possible. Broken Compass just boosts how much of the singing count we're going to apply about. Nice for these sorts of encounters at least. This changes it to first turn start of a wave, so it's not much use in Mirror Dungeon normal, but it is boosting our numbers a bit. And this just changes to first turn start of wave, so yeah, I think that's a good enough thing. We don't have a second gloom, so we can't sacrifice our lighter for a chance at another sinking gift, but to be fair, I'm not sure I'd want to. I like having that bonus to gloom every turn. We're going to be using a lot of gloom.
고작 터뜨려주지. 무지하니까. 고작 터뜨려주지. 무지하니까.
흐드러졌구려.
I want to point out that if you have G-Court Utis on your team, Rusty Commemorative Coin gets really good. Because it means that she's going to be throwing out her buffs on a consistent basis. And if you were to use her Holiday Ego on top of that, when applying positive effects to other allies with skill effects, randomly select one of the following effects, then inflict 1 potency to a random enemy 5 times per turn. There are certainly better giveaway skills than this, but it's still a very decent thing to rely on.
고작 터뜨려주지. 맞는 거야. 무지하니까. 깨달았나? 유쾌한 결투였네.
다시 못살게 구는 일은 없을 것이오.
Sinking is considered to be the slowest of these teams, Slash and Sloth. Sinking is considered to be the slowest of Mirror Dungeon teams for win rate abuse, but I feel like it's still doing pretty well. Oh boy, it's the slow one. Go figure. For once, it would have been nice to go for the Nixie Divergence upgraded version, I think.
어두운 무지를 열어줬지.
돌격합니다.
This got a lot easier once they added enough identities to actually match the action economy on this turn, but this was already a pretty easy boss, so I don't know what I'm complaining about. We need someone to die this turn, which means it's time for a Envy punchdown.
직접 알게 합니다.
Bad roll, bad roll.
시시게.
So interesting thing that was revealed, there are many ways to calm one down, but this abnormality likes gifts the most. A fresh batch of blood might be able to appease it. Offer the clay doll. Satiated, the abnormality calmed down for a moment. So yeah, Utis's Sunshower is a very handy thing to start spamming in sinking teams. Before attack, gain 6 poise count, so very nice for her group here.
조언이 필요하십니까?
And a reminder, it also starts giving her poise after every clash. It's very handy.
어두운 무지를 열어줬죠.
So yeah, Dicey Association is actually revealed to have 2 different branches. They have the Fists, which is what Rodion is part of. And all of their insight abilities rely on, okay, discard this skill, gain insight equal to its skill rank, and gain shield equal to the insight. Well, and nonsense like that. But then you've got the Keys, which is the branch that Honglu is part of, where they discard the skills and they gain insight, and the insight boosts the power of their attacks. So, yeah.
듣고 있어요.
This reuses his coin, so this 5 skill coin at 3 insight becomes a 3 skill coin. But only when he's attacking, it doesn't work on the clash. This one and this one gain coin power insight. So if you have 3 insight, then this it gains 2 coin power, rolls pretty high. If you somehow have 3 insight when you get around to this one, then you are gaining coin power equal to insight. So that's a +6. Also deal more damage per singing on target. Just very nice stuff to have. Now here's the thing, she's going to put down a bunch of singing count. Each time he lands heads, he's going to keep the singing count on there.
직접 알게 합니다.
About to take quite a bit of gloom damage there, buddy.
써주마.
Well, maybe not that much. We really need... The heat of the abnormality is wearing everyone down. We'll have to make an offering to calm its wrath. I'm trying to figure out whether this... I think this should maintain the stacks enough that we can Singing Deluge it. It would probably be a lot easier if I just used Rime Shank to do it, but I feel like I might be able to maintain it here. Or, you know, she could be doing sloth blunt damage enough to just one-shot the boss because of that fragile that we stuck down on it last turn. That's always an option. Ooh. I did talk about Rusty Commemorative Coin, but that gives a... But over here we have... Do not increase gloom resistance. The lightning rod means nothing to us, but I kind of want the gloom resistance. Or rather, I don't want them to become resistant to gloom because that's our main damage type. Okay, so what do we have here? We have to make a choice. Either we get one gift guaranteed, or we get to pick our gifts, but we have less cost at the end. Thinking about it, we actually need to be able to control what gifts we get, but we just don't have the cost to afford it. Even though we could now sell the lithograph because we have phlebotomy pack. And we did just pick up Lightning Rod, which we could sell for a bit of money. This is a tricky decision. Sell the lithograph. Sell the Lightning Rod. Upgrade. Oof. We'll see what we have after we're done. One grey coat. This is the only refresh I will do. But, refresh. Damn it. Okay, this was a mistake. So yeah, I'll see you at the upgrade vendor. Okay, can we fix anything for... This is an option. We could throw away 2 decent gifts in hope of picking up a really cool singing gift and then augmenting it. probably a mistake. This game is exceptionally stupid sometimes. Okay, so what can we upgrade? I feel like I get the bad odds on those fuses more often than not. The centipede is capable of discharging a high voltage. That's what the sign attached to the tank says. Is this an aquarium or a laboratory? The segments of the creature spark each time they move, suggesting faulty connections. There are 2 buttons at the tank. One is shaped like a thunderbolt, while the other looks like a water drop. I think we need to push the lightning button. Applying stimulation and pain to the centipede to increase the discharge intensity. So writes a message above the buttons. That seemed to be what this one does. When you press it, a mechanical sound played for a short while. An item that resembles a battery casing dropped through the chute below. The centipede isn't moving. When hitting an enemy with a skill, inflict rupture potency. If the skill's affinity is envy, inflict 5 rupture instead. That's really good on any team because it just means that all your attacks now deal 3 true damage in addition to everything else. And we have My Form Empties. A bell occasionally tolls in the red room. It's a heavy, subduing sound. The statue is chanting something. You are unable to recognize its words. You feel that whatever it is not a joyous thing. There's a brass ring on the statue's finger. So if we take this, then we get penalized for it, but we get a really good ego gift. Just heads up. Take the brass ring. Lust, gluttony, advantage. Who should do it? Base forced is guaranteed to beat this. You pick up the ring in its hand. It remains perfectly still, maintaining its chant. The statue won't move no matter what happens around it. Though it stays forever still and the tone of its mantra remains consistent. You knew one thing. Its chants are imbued with a curse. Ego gift bloody gadget earned. Allies without lust affinity take 10 SP damage. A little penalizing, but not the worst thing that could have happened. 2 damage up to a random ally. Allies with lust affinity skills get priority and +1 damage up. Oh no, it's the trash crab again. Oh. Well, I guess it's not so bad because this guy is designed to be torn apart by gloom. Yeah, that shell will evaporate if we get good stacks on it. So, the strategy. And now we just make sure that no one else is taking nasty hits. Okay, that's a mass attack. We have to intercept that. Although we're slightly at bad odds because we lost 10 SP from the bloody gadget. Unfortunately, they're very resistant to slash damage, so Honglu's going to be slightly at odds there, but not the end of the world.
이번엔 떠나지 마라. 얼어버리면 아플 필요도 없어서. 얼어가지? 정신 못 차릴 거야.
Sunshower is very important because it helps maintain SP balance, which is going to be rather... When we start spamming ego like no tomorrow to break through these boss fights, that will be extremely important. Also, it's a sloth pierce attack, so it's going to absolutely wreck most of these crabs. There's something extremely amusing about Don Quixote able to pick that thing up and just smash it on the ground like that. You aim for that kill. The shell's about to burst, but I don't want to push that singing count down too much, so... Rodion, you go after this one instead. $203 damage. Reminder that this is the event that they made Mola Ishmael for, so she is tailor-made. Her skills are perfectly designed to tear these things to shreds.
직접 알게 하니라. 다음은 어디입니까? 얼어가지? 정신 못 차릴 거야. 깨쳐주마! 이것도 받아보시게나!
You are about to die, but you're also being targeted by just about everything, so we need to make sure that we both shut your attack down and then intercept all of this. Although the... Actually, we don't. You're about to explode, so who needs the SP? That would be Don Quixote. If I was feeling like a particularly big style kill, then I could have arranged for it to be Sinking Deluge to get the kill, but the thing is, he'd die just from taking the first 2 hits. We don't need to worry. Enemies gain damage up if they deal at least 1 damage last turn. That's the safest option. I don't want to max speed, even though Rusty Commemorative Coin is good. And I don't care about the charred disc. Alright, so, yeah, we've got a good final branch, so catch you after some skimming at the next mystery event.
좋겠어.
Oh, someone was using a counter skill and nailed Hong Lu. Quite literally. Thanks for giving me all these gloom gifts once I've passed the last trade stop. Okay, so we remember this one. I'm pretty sure we don't have the skills able to safely leave, so we need to pray before the statue. Granted. You lower your head and pray. You hear the sound of trumpets, but you don't look up, because prayers are meant to be like that.
탁월한 지휘였습니다.
The HP and SP actually undoes the damage that we took from that, it undoes the damage that we took from the brass ring that we got, so that's
이번
nice.
지휘도 부탁드립니다.
Yeah, skim ahead with this one as well. Oh wait, this one is actually a thing. Ah, coffee and cranes. It's the final stretch, but sure, why not? Ah, it's you, you jerk. A field of white yet somehow dark flowers is ahead. The sky is red, the air windy and bleak. One giant flower flutters amid the fields. It resembles a person waving from afar. If we approach it, we get white gossypium. We don't want to get that on this team. So we hit wave back. You wave out of nostalgia. In an instant, all the flowers went awash with red, simultaneously turning to face you. After staring into us for a little while, the red petals flew at us. It was like a punishment for making a half-hearted gesture. Combat encounter.
이번 지휘도 부탁드립니다.
The thing is, white gossypium is really good for bleed teams, but not for this team, because we're a sinking team with very little bleed. That's a lot of gluttons. Absolute resonance.
모든 걸 거둬들일 순 없었어.
I actually want to point out that what is cast used to actually be pretty bad, because it would cause Rodion to gain extra power each turn, but it would also cause her to lose SP every time someone dies, no matter which side they're on. Which means she would be very quick to corrode in long fights with lots of enemies. Thankfully, they stopped doing that. Instead, it just gives her SP loss and gain efficiencies for the rest of the battle. That means anything that restores more SP restores more, and anything that costs SP costs more.
직접 알게 합니다. 깨달았나? 파쇄 완료.
So, this was the one that Yi-Sang hit last turn. This is how interactions with next turn effects happen. He should have he inflicted a 6 potency, 1 count next turn. But as you can see, we have 7 potency because it added to the 1 potency that already was. So this does work nice on enemy. He does work nice if enemies already have a lot of sinking count. It's just hard to get that on his own. Anyway, if I hit win rate, they're stupid.
다음은 어디입니까? 맞는 거야. 파쇄 완료.
And we're not even at the final boss and I'm passing the hour mark on my recording. Surely this isn't going to be that complicated a fight though. Nope.
돌격합니다.
I'm really disappointed that I wasn't able to get the Neverwinter Nightmare on this team. Aside from that being used to fuse to the Headless Portrait to get the fusion gift, it's just really fantastic for all of these sinners. It's so disappointing.
무지하니까.
Maybe I'm only ever going to get to show one Super Fusion gift on one of these runs, so I guess it's just as well I got it on the Burn team because they needed it the most.
돌격합니다. 공격.
직접 열어드리죠.
돌격합니다. 저 유쾌한 결투였네.
열어주신다.
맞는 거야. 맞는 거야.
Punch punch. Oh. I was just complaining about not getting Neverwinter Nightmare, and I get it at the very end. Go figure. Okay. In the middle of a quiet and peaceful forest, a delicate tree branch is placed. A small fairy with a green glow sits atop it. Saying no words, the fairy waves at us, inviting us to come over and take a break. It looks like it was smiling. It might have been dancing. Move on without resting. We can't get careless and stop here. Tree branches came at us trying to stop us from going, but we narrowly dodged them. We've learned the real meaning of the fairy's gesture. No such thing as free gifts, someone mumbled. Midwinter Nightmare. When hitting an enemy and dealing HP damage to them with a skill, inflict 3 potency. Like, if the skill's affinity is Gluttony, inflict 5 potency instead. Just... This is ridiculous. This is a sinking team. Everyone likes to have high count on the enemy. We've arranged for there to be high count on the enemy. I'm just sad that we've gotten it right at the end after passing the upgrade shop, because we could do something absolutely hilarious with it. You know what? We don't need the blue Zippo lighter because we're about to hit the final boss. So guess Late Bloomer's Tattoo.
이번 지휘도 부탁드립니다.
I almost want to turn off the auto flip setting just so I can show how much... Hello, long legs! What are you weak to? Wrath, gluttony, envy, but your sloth and lust and pride is kind of resistant. You are about to have a very bad day. So I just need to make sure that I... Wait. The strategy, right. Always Sunshower turn 1, even if you're losing your Sinking Deluge to do it, because you need the SP gain. Just enough that we're guaranteed to clash even though we're going to be flipping heads. Sadly not hitting anyone that we care about, but oh well. You are going to win this clash no matter what, that's nice. And, let's throw out just a tiny bit of singing count on him so Honglu doesn't delete it completely.
쓸데없는 관심 필요 없다.
스며들 듯한 비 우산이 새진 않나 모르겠어.
얼어버리면 아플 필요도 없어서.
Ooh, 45 times 9. Okay, so here's the important thing. We never want her to actually have to fight to land her Rime Shank, so the fact that it's targeting a body part that we can't actually do anything about... actually tell me, what's your body like? 17 to 13, 17 to 10, 55 to 8. Wow, her. Look at that. She just has so much power going on into that attack that even that 27 roll can't beat her. I'm not exactly sure where that extra power is coming from, but I'm not complaining. Actually, wait. Yeah, so now it's still going through unopposed, but it's corroded. Honglu might as well keep hitting on that head.
어두운 무지를 열어줬지요.
734 damage! Boink.
쓸데없는 관심 필요 없다. 얼어버리면 아플 필요도 없어서.
Sinking might be a bit wonky to control. It's not as easy to auto battle, but you can do so much crazy stuff with it, especially if you get nice gifts. So yeah. Honglu took the most damage. I think that's because he accidentally triggered a Wrath counter in that one Encore fight. But... she's supposed to be a tank. I just wish I could have shown off the fusion gift because it's really interesting. Incidentally, I am aware that soon they're going to release the new event content, and I'm actually going to have to run... Usually, the first thing I do every week is run my charge team through Mirror Dungeon Hard. But apparently the new event is going to require a Mirror Dungeon Hard... Apparently the new dungeon is going to require Mirror Dungeon Hard charges for extra bonuses, so I think I'm actually going to run it before the event. So, yeah. Obviously I am going to show off what the event entails, because that's what I did for the previous one. Before we go though... let's look for sinking gifts. So, this is decent because it's a support effect. If an ally inflicts singing potency, they gain offense level next turn to a maximum of 1. 3 offense level is equal to 1 clash power. That's nice. That's nice. Allies with Wrath singing attack skills upon inflicting singing potency gain 2 offense level instead. So that's actually very nice for our core Ishmael or for Dicey Honglu. So both of them enjoy it. And at maximum rank, it gives 2 offense level to a maximum of 4, or 3 offense level to a maximum of 6. So yeah, it makes it easier to ramp it up. Thorny Path, you can at least knock it down to Lust Resonance, but you will find it pretty hard to get Lust Resonance off if you aren't bringing it base, if you don't bring your base Honglu instead of the dicey one. Melted Spring, enemies with singing lose 3 offense and defense level for the turn at the turn start. Again, 1 clash power, that's handy in later ranks. Over here is Skeletal Crumbs. Enemies deal and take less damage from enemies that have sinking at the start of combat. If you have Gloom affinity, then that gets upgraded to 20% of each. So basically this is the singing version of the Little and Tuvi Naughty plushie, which is 10% damage against enemies with bleed, take 20% damage less from enemies with bleed. If we're at Pride affinity, then it's 20% more damage and 30% less damage. So Skeletal Crumbs basically does that. Where is it though? You know what? I think after the reset I've never actually picked it up, but there's a gift that changes it, so whatever elemental damage you would have dealt then is adjusted to be the type that deals the most damage, so it makes it strictly better than Rupture unless you're fighting against something with super tanking skills. Problem is, it's a tier 4 gift, so it's super rare, but also you only get it you'd only get it if you had a team that had something like the Neverwinter Nightmare. Well, Midwinter Nightmares, excuse me. Still, one thing I have gotten before is the fusion gift for sinking, so Black Sheep Music. This gift activates when 5 or more identities have attack skills that apply singing potency or count. Doesn't count ego skills. When hitting an enemy with a skill, inflict 5 singing potency. So that's just... where'd he go? That's just to the better effect of Midwinter Nightmare, but always. At the start of the turn, all enemies or abnormality parts regain singing count equal to singing count consumed from being hit, divided by 2. Reminder that the other ingredient that we throw into this is the Headless Portrait, which is just adds sinking potency at the start of combat. So yeah, it is very good. It's a shame I only got the ingredients at the last second. Anyway, next time on Limbus Company, we've got the Pride team to go. And this is one that actually got adjusted extremely heavily after the release of certain identities, so I'm going to have to cover 2 different styles of playing with the Poise team. Until then guys, take care. I'll see you all around.
열쇠를 통해 들여다보면 보이지 않던 것들이 들여다 보여진답니다. 아, 미안해요. 열쇠파가 아니신 분들이 들여다봐도 보이는 건 없어서.